Number 10, Unhappy Cam Girl. In January 2018, an Alabama man was arrested after his cam girl wife was found dead by a motorist outside their house. According to him, though, it was all an unfortunate accident. Kat worked as a cam girl with a subscription-only website where she went by the name of Kitty Cat West and posted risque photos of herself. She bore a resemblance to Marilyn Monroe and had a lot of fans. Her husband, 47-year-old Jeffrey West, claimed that he didn't have an issue with his 42-year-old wife, Kathleen Cat Dawn's career as an adult entertainer. In fact, he said that they were on pretty good terms and insisted that he'd never hurt his wife. However, things started to unravel during investigation when West's fingerprints were found on an absinthe bottle that was used to murder Kat. Apparently, the couple got into an argument after a date night where they each had 6 drinks from the absinthe bottle, and somehow West taking racy photos of his wife for her work devolved into a fight. So, in a drunk, violent rage, he grabbed the bottle and beat her to death with it. He then proceeded to throw her body outside the house after 11 p.m., which was discovered by a passing motorist at around 5 a.m. According to West, though, he went to bed at 10:30 p.m. and only found out about his wife's death the following morning. But the evidence was too damning. For instance, his health tracking app showed that he had walked 18 steps around the 11 p.m. mark. Oh, and apparently Kat also wasn't happy with his sex drive and wanted to explore other options as a bisexual woman, which led to a lot of arguments between the pair. After a couple of weeks, though, West was eventually sentenced to 16 years in prison. Number 9, matching tattoos. In March 2022, police officers found a woman's body parts in 15 plastic garbage bags in Brescia, Italy, and upon inspection they were finally able to identify her as 26-year-old adult entertainment actress Carol Maltese. Maltese started working as an OnlyFans model during the pandemic and had shot quite a few adult films. That's when she met the 43-year-old Italian banker David Fontana. Apparently, he slid into Maltese's Instagram DMs, after which they decided to work together. In fact, he also left his wife and house in Milan shortly after to be with Maltese. And as time went by, they began to record extreme scenes together. And on one fateful day between January 10th and 11th, Fontana killed her while filming one of their movies. In the video, she was tied up on a stripper bar with the 43-year-old hitting her with a hammer. According to him, though, they weren't supposed to be fatal hits. So, not knowing what to do, Fontana proceeded to cut her throat with a kitchen knife and then tried to set her body on fire. When that didn't work, he got a big freezer, froze her body, and then dismembered her with a chainsaw that he'd bought on Amazon. He even went as far as to drive up a mountain and dump her body that he had placed in 15 separate garbage bags, some 75 miles or 120 kilometers away. It was only by matching her tattoos with her photos and videos that the police managed to identify her, as her face was burned beyond recognition. On top of that, Fontana also pretended to be her through text messages with her friends and family on her phone for almost 3 months. Eventually, though, it all caught up to him and he was charged with first-degree homicide. Number 8, a grave mistake. In July 2020, an Alabama adult film star shot her boyfriend and then buried his rotting corpse in a shallow grave. And if it weren't for cadaver dogs, no one would have even found out. 23-year-old Lauren Wambles, who goes by the name Aubrey Gold for her adult career, plotted her 51-year-old boyfriend Raul Gillen's murder with 2 other people. The motive? Drugs and money. According to Holmes County Sheriff, it all started before the 4th of July celebrations when Gillen called his ex-wife to ask for money because he was in a difficult financial situation with a bunch of people, and soon after that, he went missing with no clue of his whereabouts. The police search continued for weeks since no one really suspected Gold, as her relationship with Gillen seemed solid. However, one thing led to another, and thanks to cadaver dogs, police were led to a shallow grave not far from their home. Initially, though, the corpse wasn't recognizable, but judging by the proximity, it was pretty clear that this was Gillen's body. He had also been shot and left in the ground. So this opened up the entire case with police, and they also checked out 35-year-old William Parker and 43-year-old Jeremy Peters Place, both of whom were with Gold and Gillen during the 4th of July celebrations. Gold was arrested and is being held on a charge of principal to murder and given a 10-year sentence. Williams has been charged with open murder and Jeremy with accessory to murder and corpse abuse. Interestingly enough, Gold had been arrested 6 times since 2018 for drug possession and other minor charges. Number 7, undercover hitman. In 2020, an adult film actress was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, after she was found guilty of hiring a hitman to get rid of the father of one of her children, known only as RH. Katrina Danforth, who's better known by her stage name Lynn Passion and Lynn Pleasant, concocted a super detailed and convoluted plan about killing R.H. According to her, he'd abused the child and she was just trying to do what was best for her kids. So to make sure she wouldn't get her own hands dirty, she went down the route of murder for hire. She contacted a hitman and asked him to murder her husband for $5,000. She had some pretty interesting conditions too. For instance, the hitman had to make sure that the victim's body was discovered and that she didn't care about any collateral damage other than her own child. In fact, she even sent a thank you card to the hitman with $2,500 as an apparent down payment for the killing. However, little did she know that the person she'd been plotting the murder with was an undercover cop. So her scheme came crashing down pretty quick, and even though she initially got away with just 3 years of supervised probation and a $1,000 fine, Danforth eventually pleaded guilty to her crimes and was given a 10-year sentence. Do you think 10 years is a fair sentence for Katrina, or do you think because she hired the hitman due to his child abuse, she should receive a lighter sentence? Let us know what you think of the case in the comments below and hit that subscribe button while you're at it. Number 6. Surgical Dance. In March 2017, the police discovered the dead body of a surgeon from Ketchikan, Alaska, after he'd been missing for well over a week. And apparently, there were no signs of foul play either. Dr. Eric Garcia, who'd been a pretty high-profile surgeon in the Alaska region, was found in his own home, where there was no blood or any signs pointing towards a potential murder. The only clue was the fact that someone had stolen over $500,000 worth of watches and jewelry. Well, it turns out that the perpetrator was none other than 32-year-old adult film star and exotic dancer Jordan Joplin. According to reports, Joplin met Garcia 3 years prior and the two became close friends. Jordan became a suspect in the murder case when he visited the surgeon in Ketchikan the day before he was last seen alive. However, it was Jordan himself who reported that Garcia had gone missing after he'd failed to show up at a medical conference in Las Vegas. When the officers went to check on the doctor, the house was locked and apparently vacant, so they left. Jordan contacted the police again and said that he couldn't let them into Garcia's house, and that's when they discovered the body, 10 days after he died. Now, due to his cooperation and concern, no one really suspected Jordan's involvement in the murder. Over the course of the next few weeks, though, the cops found surveillance evidence that Jordan was the one who stole Garcia's belongings, and was even driving his truck. They also found receipts for shipping containers that he had bought and filled with Garcia's stuff to ship back to his own house in Washington. So, one thing led to another, and Jordan Joplin was eventually charged with murder and theft. Number 5. Shaman Ritual. In March 2021, a Spanish adult film star was charged with manslaughter over the death of a fashion photographer after allegedly putting him through a cleansing shaman ritual. 47-year-old Nacho Vidal is a pretty prolific adult star with over 600 credits to its name. His side hustle was a bit questionable though, as apparently he performed these psychedelic shaman rituals to help people with addiction and depression. So it was a normal day in the office when he got Jose Luis Abad, a fashion photographer, as his latest client. To cure Abad's cocaine addiction, Vidal decided to make him inhale crystallized venom from a toxic Colorado River toad. After doing that for about 20 seconds though, Abad started sobbing and his arms and legs started wriggling like he was some type of contortionist. While this was going on, 2 helpers were beating a tambourine and ringing 2 bells as part of the bizarre ceremony. And things really went south when Abad's face and chest turned blue. Of course, emergency services were called, but by the time they had arrived, he was already dead. As a result, the police arrested Vidal, one of his relatives, and an employee over suspicion of manslaughter and crimes against public health. According to the reports, though, the ritual had been done multiple times before, but this time Vidal failed to control the dosage, which is why he's been charged with manslaughter and is on track for a 9-year prison sentence. Number 4. Murderous Couple. In May 2010, Florida police found the body of 41-year-old tattoo shop owner Dennis Scooter Abramson. His body was discovered stabbed and bludgeoned to death. The prime suspect, a couple who worked in the adult film industry. 28-year-old Amanda Logue, who went by the name Sunny Day, often worked as a bikini and fetish model, and with the help of her Chicago DJ boyfriend, 27-year-old Jason Andrews, they plotted Scooter's murder. Amanda met Jason on a video set in 2009 and fell in love, even though she was already married. According to the police, Scooter had hired Amanda to work at a sex party at his house. For some reason, however, Amanda and Jason decided that they could make a quick buck while also getting rid of the tattoo shop owner. They traded dozens of texts setting up their homicidal plan, and in the early hours of May 15th, the couple killed Scooter and swiped his credit cards, a video camera, and $6,000 in cash. Of course, as soon as the cops started pointing fingers, both of them threw the other under the bus. In fact, Logue even went as far as to say that Jason bludgeoned Scooter with a sledgehammer and then forced her to crush his skull, saying that this would happen to her if she spoke up. But in the end, both of them were arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Number 3. Self-defense. In February 2013, New York police received a domestic disturbance call from the apartment of a retired adult film actress. Upon arrival, they found her 24-year-old boyfriend bleeding from a stab wound to the neck. 23-year-old Jennifer Marchand had been an adult star for a few years, but decided to call it quits after having a child with her boyfriend, Ralph Stone. The couple had met while she was just 16 years old, right after Jennifer's stepmother died, and that's when they formed a deep connection. However, things started to crumble when Stone started drinking and assaulting her after losing his job. And on a fateful night, he lost control and accused her of cheating on him. He became extremely angry and tried to attack her, and when she escaped into the bathroom, he broke down the door. According to Jennifer, Stone then proceeded to choke her, daring her to fight back, and that's when she grabbed a knife and stabbed him in the neck. The police arrested her on the spot, and the judge gave her 12 years in prison for the murder. However, after spending 3 years in state prison, she filed an appeal in the state Supreme Court, and the court ruled that the jury was wrong in rejecting her self-defense claim, which meant that she was free to go. Number 2. Botched surgery. In August 2021, an aspiring South African adult film star died at a local California hospital after receiving botched illegal butt lift surgery from a mother and daughter. 51-year-old Libby Adame and her 23-year-old daughter Alicia Galaz ran a home-based surgery clinic in Encino, where they frequently performed illegal cosmetic procedures. Apparently, they've been doing it for years despite having zero medical training. So it was bound to catch up with him, which is exactly what happened when one of their regular clients, 26-year-old Carissa Rajpal, showed up at the clinic. This was supposed to be her third cosmetic procedure after she'd recently moved to LA. Of course, not really knowing anything about butt lifts, the mother-daughter duo created a homemade cocktail of popular cosmetic chemicals and other dangerous substances and injected her with it. This resulted in the actress having heart and muscular issues, which ended up killing her. With that said, while the police did bust their operation and arrest them on the spot, both of them have been released on bail without making a court appearance. Number 1. Out the window. In the UK in July 2016, police in Brighton received a call about a naked woman falling from a first-floor flat. The woman was 27-year-old adult film model and ex-Geordie Shore star Amy Spencer. Known more famously by her stage name Carla Mai, she was apparently at a drug-fueled party in the hours before she fell. Witnesses say that they found her on a patio unconscious and with severe injuries after she fell out of a kitchen window. According to the police, she was rushed to the Royal Sussex County Hospital, but was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. There were tons of questions about how she fell and the possibility of someone even pushing her. The police even arrested the owner of the flat, Daniel Lewis. However, he was never charged with her murder. Instead, he was found guilty of possessing Class A, B, and C drugs with the intent to supply and got a 3-year custodial sentence. According to multiple accounts, Spencer had taken a lot of drugs that night, which probably led to the incident. The autopsy also confirmed this theory, as there were no signs of sexual assault, pressure, or physical abuse injuries. Since she was a pretty high-profile model with dozens of credits including Babe Station TV, the incident sent shockwaves across the British adult entertainment industry as tributes poured out for her. However, to this day, the real cause of her fall remains shrouded in mystery. Thanks for watching. Would you leave your current job to become an adult film star if it made you rich beyond your wildest dreams? Tell us in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time on The Bad Badger.